Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Thank you very much for being here. Today again we have a new video about armors, weapons and other things, other medieval warfare things. But today it's going to be a bit of a special video because we're going to discuss something which is not historical but from a historical point of view. Today we're going to talk about a very special weapon that I think that many of you already know, and that is the Orcrist. Alright, so what are we going to do for this video? What we're going to do, I'm going to talk a little bit about this sword and then trying to see whether it would be a realistic sword, whether it would be an effective sword, and whether there was something similar in the Middle Ages. So this is what we're going to talk about today. So first of all, this is the Orcrist from also, but mostly actually in the Hobbit. And what they tell us is that this sword was forged, made by the elves of the land of Gondolin, okay? And this sword in the films is used by Thorin Oakenshield, the king of the dwarves. And because I think, as far as I remember, he got it from the troll's lair, or something like that. And it's called Orcrist, which is in the Elven language, because the elves made it. Because it was used to slay orcs and goblins, and as a matter of fact, it is said that this sword has magical powers, and it would lighten up of a blue aura if enemies are nearby, particularly orcs. And the orcs call it their biter, whereas another name for it is goblin cleaver. Okay, now let's talk about it from a historical point of view. First of all, let's be technical. What is this? Okay, now first of all, it's a saber. I actually like the shape of the blade. It's not curved like most sabers used to be, but it has this interesting curve here, which kind of, I think, would give it a good advantage as far as cutting is concerned with this sword. Another important thing is that, just like with a katana, it's a single-edged sword. So it would only cut from this part here, and it would not cut here. This part would be completely dull. Talking about the guard, I'll get a little closer. As you can see, it looks good, but would this guard be effective? Because it only has one quillon, okay? Probably not. The reason being that, as we said, it would only cut from this part. So most of my strikes would probably be handled like this. Therefore, thrusting wouldn't be a good idea, because if you thrust this way, as you see, my hands over here are completely unprotected. So probably, in order to strike to thrust with only one quillon, I would probably have to simply change to this. Now this would be a lot more effective as far as thrusting is concerned, personally, I think, because then if any enemy strikes arrive, this quillon would protect me. So I would cut this way, but then change and thrust this other way around. Okay, so probably something that from a technical point of view could be resolved, but still what I would have done would have been to add as another quillon here, but perhaps going the other direction. This way, having a second quillon here, which would cover me up to here probably, through the handle, then even thrusting like this, which can happen in a battle and in a duel, I would have been protected. So again, what kind of sword is it? It's a two-handed sword. Now occasionally in the films, Thorin uses it with one hand, and we have situations where Legolas fights with this, and yes, these characters use it both as a one-handed sword, and as a two-handed sword. But what I think, considering the length of the grip and the weight of the sword and the sword balancement, probably I would rather use it two-handed all the time. Definitely not with a shield. So yeah, that's what I would do. Two-handed sword, I believe. Now, having said this, could this be an effective sword? Well, as I said, adding the second quillon, probably. Yeah, I don't see, it's not too fantasy, if you know what I mean. We had historically speaking, falchions, for example, and things like that. So, and even katanas, as I said, it kind of resembles, well, it doesn't look like a katana, it looks like a mixture between a falchion and some Indian wolf swords and some characteristics of the katana, which make it an elven sword, I suppose. So yes, as I said, it's a reasonable sword. There are other swords that I would consider complete rubbish, but Orcrist has passed the test with me. Just a couple of things I would change, but apart from this, it's a good sword. Alright, so let me know what you think about this sword, if you like Orcrist, if you think it's one of your favourite swords. I like the design, it's very elvish, if such a word exists. I like it's very beautiful, very nice. It also has, let me show you this, some inscriptions here. So very well done, very beautiful sword. Okay, so if you like this sword, please comment below, let me know what you think, and ask me if there are other swords you'd like me to talk about, give you some historical facts and some ideas, or whether they would be effective or not. Tell me in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.